Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 5th edition of the SouthCoast Job Central. I am your host, Ian Abreu. It's a pleasure to have you all here with us in studio, live on your phone, on your computer, your desktop, your laptop, your iPad, however you're watching and listening to us. We're happy to have you. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I'll explain to you the purpose of the show. The purpose of this show is to connect you, the resident of New Bedford, Greater New Bedford, and the South Coast region, who may be unemployed, underemployed, about to graduate high school, about to graduate college, and you're looking for that new career or for that first career. You're looking for better employment. You're looking for a job. The purpose of this show is to connect you with the movers and shakers of our community, the job and career experts, the economic development and workforce professionals, and employers in our region, and educational experts to get you to where you need to be. So I'm very pleased to have my very distinguished guests here in studio today. We'll start off with Karyl Ryan. So Karyl is the director of the Senior Employment Program at Coastline Elderly. Karyl, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much for inviting us. We're thrilled to be here.
So Karyl, you've got some friends here, friends of mine, friends of yours. Would you like to tell us who these wonderful individuals are?
I would love that. I have Janice Harris, who is a participant in our Senior Community Service Employment Program. She is also my assistant, my right hand. I have Herbie Johnson, who is a former participant in the program and is now employed through City Hall.
Well, that's great, and of course I know Herbie through my other hat at City Hall, so it's great to see him. It's great to see you, Janice, and it's great to see you, Karyl. So Karyl, before we really get into the nitty-gritty about the program and your mission and what you're doing, let's start off with the very basic. Who is Karyl Ryan? Who are you? What do you do? And talk a little bit about what Coastline Elderly Services, the service that they provide for our community.
Well, I'm Karyl Ryan. I've lived in New Bedford for my entire life. Given a year or two where I lived elsewhere, but I've been a resident of the city of New Bedford for a very long time. Not going to say my age. So I am the director of the Senior Community Service Employment Program at Coastline, and really happy to be here to explain the program. Coastline is the sponsor of this program. So we are housed at 1646 Purchase Street, and we're thrilled that they are absolute supporters of this program, that they consider age to be an asset, and that's what this program is all about, is making sure that people who are 55 and over are able to be trained and therefore gain employment in the city and in Bristol and Plymouth counties, actually.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think it's great, because when you talk about getting individuals into the workplace, getting them started, whether it's internships or whether it's that entry-level job, I think folks tend to think about maybe right out of high school, right out of college. And there's so much to be said about individuals of that age group and that age bracket that you're talking about that still want to contribute to society and still want to work and can still provide a great value. And you have two great examples right here.
Absolutely. I absolutely do. So if you're asking what the value of their work is, I think they should answer that question themselves, because they're the experts.
Janice and Herbie, please, by all means, if you want to explain a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then maybe why you enjoy your employment and the value that you've received from being employed through the program.
Well, in my previous position, I worked at the local job center, career center, helping job seekers. More so than resume writing and interviewing skills, I felt it was my mission to empower people, to uncover their skills and attributes that employers are really looking for beyond a resume. And I was laid off from my position due to budget cuts. I used to do my workshops in one of these rooms here in this building.
It's funny the way life comes full circle, isn't it?
It does. So now, I remembered about the senior employment program because we used to hire some senior aides at the Career Center. So now I'm helping people my age with their job search skills and empowering them to understand that the work attitude that we're bringing, the maturity, the wisdom, are all pluses that you can't really describe on a resume.
That's great. Herbie?
Well, let me first start off with saying that Karyl Ryan has been my savior. And fortunately, I had the opportunity to meet her, and she got me a position working in the real estate business as an assistant manager. And from there, I worked until that position was no longer available, and she placed me at City Hall in Community Services Department. The local consumer program is what I work in. And I started to flourish there, and I loved working there. And so based on that, they wanted to hire me full-time as a mediator. And there's two hats that you have to wear as a mediator. There's the local consumer program, which people do consumer complaints through the Attorney General's office where we get our cases. And then there's also the court system we work with as far as mediation in the court systems, doing small claims. Also summary process, which is tenant landlord mediation. And fortunately for me, I kind of blossomed working down at City Hall, and I got involved with the Human Relations Commission, and I got voted in on the Human Relations Commission, which is something I like to do.
Great.
I wear a lot of different hats. I love multitasking, and I just want to let people know that because we're older doesn't mean we don't bring value added to a company. And I believe, I know I do, and I know that Janice has, and that what people look for is experience, they look for reliability, they look for dependability, they look for people who are goal and results driven, which is what I am.
Right.
And I'm very happy to be in the environment I'm working with and still be in touch with Karyl Ryan.
Well, that's great to hear, Herb, and Janice, thank you for those testimonials. That's fantastic. Karyl, let's start off with the very basic. Who would qualify for the program? Obviously, you talked about the age range. Are there any other qualifying measures to partake in this program?
Oh, absolutely. The qualifying measures are that they should live in Bristol or Plymouth counties, be 55 years or older. They should be unemployed. They cannot have a job at this point. They have to be income eligible, so they have to meet the income eligibility requirements of the government under 125%.
Okay.
And there's a lot of ways that we work with those numbers that the Department of Labor allows us to reduce those numbers by 25% if they're on Social Security.
Okay.
So those really are the qualifying ways that they come into the program. What brings them into the program is priority, that they be a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, that they be 65 years or over, that they have a disability, that they are non-English speaking, that they are homeless or at risk of being homeless, that they have an education that is at an 8th grade level or lower, or not have a GED. So it's all of the barriers to employment where they would normally flourish in the workforce if they didn't have these barriers. So that's what the Department of Labor looks at as far as what would make them more eligible and to be brought into the program before someone say that would have a higher level of education or was not did not have some of those employment barriers.
Don't forget, folks, we are on Facebook Live, so if you would like to chime in, if you have a question or a comment or a statement for Karyl, Herb, or Janice, you'd like to weigh in, I'm sure our guests would love to hear from you. I know I would as well. So, Karyl, about this program, let's talk about the funding. How is it funded? I assume there are state dollars, maybe some federal dollars. I'm not sure how this all plays out. For the employer, do they kick in a percentage? How does that work?
So the funding is, it's completely funded by the Department of Labor, and it is federally funded. There are other programs in the state that have some state funding, but we do not. We're strictly federally funded. There is no money that's kicked in by our host agencies or those who are providing the community service training. And those who are providing those trainings are nonprofit organizations and government agencies. So there's a twofold to this program where people are gaining training through nonprofits and government agencies, and then the government agency and nonprofit is also getting what we consider to be in-kind free help, so that they have limited budgets And now they have someone in there for 20 hours a week who's able to provide support.
Certainly seems like on the surface it's a win-win for everybody, and I'm sure even beyond the surface it's obviously a win-win for everybody. Herb and Janice, I'm sure you both can speak to the experiences that you've had, and you're here smiling, you seem to be enjoying your experiences, but it's great to see you here because I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong, if you didn't believe in this program or this initiative, you would not be here right now promoting it to the soon-to-be thousands of individuals who are going to watch and listen to this program. I don't know if either one of you want to chime in on that, but I just wanted to make that statement.
Let me say this, this program is excellent, people are well-trained. I was guided by Janice and, I'm sorry, I lost for words.
Karyl,
excuse me. I know it like the back of my hand, I don't know why I got it. Anyway, I had a lot of guidance and a lot of help. I first became involved with Coastline, I met Janice and she liked me, and then I got handed off to Karyl Ryan, and they seemed to be impressed with me and my qualifications. And one of the things that I used to run into before I came to Coastline is that you do run into age discrimination with employers. And when employers see a guy like me knocking on their door looking for a job, and they say, you're too old, I don't think you're going to be able to keep up with these young kids that you're going to be working for. You're going to have a supervisor that's half your age. How do you feel about that? And I said, look, I'm just looking for work. And when you find a job and you work it, and you do what you have to do, and you're goal and results driven like I am, the opportunities are enormous.
That's a great attitude to have. Again, folks, we're here on the South Coast Job Central. I am your host, Ian Abreu. Our producer is Josh Souza. Our guest today, we have Karyl Ryan from Coastline Services with her guests, Janet Harris, who's part of the program, as well as Herbie Johnson. Well, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping while we have a moment, if I may. Remember, folks, for those employers out there in the region, if you're looking to get the needs of your workforce demands met, if you're looking to advertise, to reach out for employment opportunities, to connect with that community, there is really no better place than New Bedford Guide, doing it right here on this show. There have been employers that have hired us to advertise their jobs, not only through our Facebook and our website pages, but right here on this show. And we've done such a great job. We actually were fired for doing such a great job because these employers were getting flooded with thousands and thousands of resumes and applications. So if you really want a diverse, great pool of workforce talent to apply for your jobs in your work site, please consider advertising on this program and on New Bedford Guide. You can email Leo Montero at leo@newbedfordguide.com, and he'll walk you through the process. But if you want to get in front of a show that is viewed 3, 4, 5, sometimes as much as 10,000 times, this is the place to do it. There's no doubt about it. We're going to help you meet the needs of your workforce. And the people down here in New Bedford and the South Coast, Karyl will tell you, they'll all tell you, we're very diverse, we're very inclusive, and we're ready to work, and we have a tremendous workforce down here, so you really should advertise on this program. So Karyl, say you are an individual who meets those guidelines you were talking about. How do you get into the program?
It's really simple. You can give us a call at Coastline at 508-999-6400, extension 177 for my office, or 162 for Janice's office. And we'll do a simple phone screening with you. You don't need to come into the building.
Oh, good.
We'll determine your eligibility right over the phone by your age and your income and where you live. And we'll let you know if you're eligible for the program. If you're eligible for the program and you meet one of those other criteria that I spoke of, the high priority service criteria, and we have slots available, then we'll call you within a few days to come in and start the screening process and the first interview and the second interview. We've gotten people into the program within a couple of days.
Wow. And you're getting them ready to rock and roll. And
we're trying to make the perfect match with them. Let me talk about our host agency.
I was going to ask next, so you segued perfect into that about the employers who host the individuals.
Exactly. So a host agency is a government or nonprofit organization who signs on with it's SCSEP, with the SCSEP program, and agrees to provide training to an individual for 20 hours a week. And they can be in the program for up to 4 years. Some are in the program for 3 weeks, some are in the program for a year, or the entire 4 years. It determines, what your employment plan is. So we work with them on employment plans and resumes. So when a host agency contacts us and says, we're interested in your program, we either fax or email them a host agency agreement. And it's just a simple document that pretty much says that they agree
Great.
to be a part of the program and that they
Great.
will train and do timesheets for the individuals. And we just ask them to provide a job description, let us know what they're looking for as far as a participant in the program, what they're looking for as far as help, and what they're able to provide for training. And then we make a match.
How many employers do you have right now between government and nonprofit? I'm sure it's a big number.
Well, it
could always
may
get
not
bigger,
be.
right?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily that people are coming in and they're going out, they're getting employed. It's what the state is contracted pretty much for modified slots for
Yep,
us.
yep.
So this year we have 54 modified slots.
Okay.
But it's goal oriented, so
Yep.
you have to be able to keep your service level up and, ensure that people are getting jobs and that you are absolutely bringing in what is considered the most in need participants.
I'd have to tell you, and I'm sure there are some great testimonials, and we have two here, but Karyl, I'm sure there are these great stories about maybe an individual whose children have grown up and they've left the nest and they moved out of the community even, or, it's sad to say, but maybe a widower whose significant other passed away and they might be getting a little bit, older in life and they're transitioning and they might be looking for a purpose and they're looking to get back out there. You must hear those great stories all the time about individuals who say, well, thank you. I get up every morning and I'm doing something. I'm not just sitting at home.
That's the best part of the job.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the job for us, is that we hear those stories, and sometimes someone may be experiencing a loss in their life. Where, as you said, they may have lost their husband or spouse and they have to get back into the workforce. So that's our job, is to do everything that we can to make sure that they get out of bed every morning and they have somewhere to go and they have something to do, and that they're able to, make a little extra money to supplement their income. And so we really listen to what their needs are. We really listen to what it is that they want to do at this time in their life. And we try to accommodate them by making sure that they receive the training that is going to make their life meaningful.
And they're keeping the brain going, which is so important.
Absolutely.
I don't know if either one of you want to add more to that, but again, you're living. Excuse me, as I knock over my microphone here. Everyone back at home, here's a muffle after I hit the mic. But let's talk about that. You're living proof of the program that it works. You enjoy it. Clearly, you've had a lot of success with it, and you're enjoying it, and it's given you that, I'm sure, that renewed sense of purpose. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, but it's great to see you both here. You're actively engaged, and it's really fun.
I think what's most rewarding is that I can identify with the applicants for the program, and I tell them, I'm a participant also. I know how it feels to have lost your job after many years, and you feel like you're constantly hearing you're overqualified.
Yep.
And it just creates a dismal outlook until you go within and realize, hey, I have a lot of valuable skills and attributes that any employer would be grateful for, and adding value to any sort of employment. And again, creating a sense of purpose when I get up in the morning.
Good for
I'm
you.
helping someone who's in the same boat as myself.
Good for you.
I have to tell you, when I first came to Coastline, I didn't know what they were going to do with me. Because Janice and Karyl were trying to match me up. I have a pretty diverse background. I was a loan officer.
Yep.
I worked at IBM Corporation when I was younger. And so when I went to Coastline, she said, well, I don't know what to do with you, Herpy. So they did an excellent job matching me up with the right people where I could go in there and be challenged and have an opportunity. And I did that when I went to City Hall. Matter of fact, there was 2 other people that worked in the same program I worked in that came out of Coastline that are now working there full-time, and as a subcontractor as me.
Yeah.
So I had to look at opportunity. The biggest thing I want to tell people out there is it wasn't about the money, it was about opportunity. And I look at it this way, if you have an opportunity, you're going to get a good job, you're gonna get paid down the road.
Right.
But people have to go in with a philosophy that you're gonna have to go in and improve yourself. They're not gonna just hand it to you. This is not a welfare system. It's earning and learning and being value added to the employer that you're working with.
I think you make a great point too. This is about going out and going after it and having that gumption inside of you, having that motivation to go out and do it. And you're both living proof of that. And you must have so many wonderful testimonials, Karyl, on top of these two individuals. Just success story after continued success story. It must be really great to get that phone call, get that email, get that letter, and say, "Wow, I really helped make a difference in someone's life."
Oh, they definitely make it challenging for you, and Herbie definitely did that. I was newly hired.
You earned your pay with Herbie, didn't you?
I definitely did. He kept me up a couple of nights, but I figured it out. I knew that he had these amazing skills and just really wanted to do something to make a difference. So he made me think, and we signed on a new host agency to accommodate him. And that's what we'll do. We'll go out there and find the employment and the training for someone if we don't already have it, because it's important to us that we get it right and we listen to them.
And so let's talk about the pay, because we have a very diverse audience here of all ages, many of whom fit right into your demographic, age-wise at least. The other pieces we don't know, you'd have to call Karyl for that, but the age piece, we know at least at that first qualifying factor, you would potentially qualify. Let's assume that every viewer and listener above the age of 55 qualifies and meets all the metrics. They might be wondering what the pay is. Is it hourly? Is it a stipend? How does that all play out, and what is it?
Well, it is considered a stipend, but it's 20 hours a week, and it's minimum wage. So
Okay.
right now it's $11 an hour. And if we want to talk about qualifications again and income verifications and who might be eligible, then we need to let the viewers know that if they are receiving any government assistance through DTA, such as SNAP benefits or EAFDC, that is not includable income. So they would be able to keep
Their benefits. Right.
and still receive this, because this is a Title V program through the Older Americans Act. So it's exempt with that. It's exempt with unemployment. It is exempt with SSDI and SSI. So none of those things count as income. So they're able to still keep those benefits and earn this also, because it's a training program. It's not considered income.
I would assume sometimes you may have to educate those who are coming in through your office about maybe misconceptions or perceptions they may have about the job, thinking, well, maybe this is a high-end salary I could earn, or am I going to get a 401k out of this, or profit sharing? It's nothing like that. No,
it isn't.
no. But those are questions. Trust me, that may be a question someone from the audience might ask. So let's get it out there right now. What the real deal is. What the real deal is.
It's 20 hours a week minimum wage, but guess what? It puts you out there. It gives you something to work towards, and it also puts something on your resume so that you have something really current on your resume that says, this is what I've been doing. Host agencies that we're working with right now, every council on aging in this general area, in Greater New Bedford, in Middleborough, in Kingston, we're in Kingston, Mass also. So we're out there because we're in Plymouth and Bristol counties. And then we're also working with PACE. PACE is a wonderful host agency for us. We have people in their fuel assistance department and their food pantry. We're working with the Salvation Army. We're working with the Buzzards Bay Coalition. These are just some of the opportunities that people have to train.
What I notice is that, and we've talked about it before on the show, and I know, Karyl, you're a frequent flyer of the show, so if I'm repeating myself, I apologize, because I know you watch us often.
I do. I'm a big fan.
I have a fan. Can you believe it?
I'm a fan.
I have a fan. Whoa.
I'm picking up job tips for
Picking up job tips.
participants.
Exactly. But I forgot I was going to go with it. See, I got so starstruck by you saying you're a fan of mine. But we'll get to my other point later. But I was going to mention, Let's talk about returnships or returnships, however you want to pronounce it. We talked about internships for the younger folks, but the returnships are very important because you're getting people back into the workforce.
Yes.
And I've talked about it before with other workforce professionals like Jim Oliveira and Rick Kidder at the SouthCoast Chamber, but you're really the expert on what a returnship is and getting people back into the workplace after they've been out for a while. So you want to talk about a little bit about those and how those, because those seem to be really hitting the scene right now with employers. I see it all the time now. Not really, in the nonprofit so much, but I'm sure it happens in nonprofit. I'm seeing it a lot in the for-profit sites, especially folks like teachers who may have put in their 20 or 30 years, started at 21, they're out by 45, 48. Military, they put in their 20 plus years, then they're out. So they still have a lot of living left to do, and they want to get back out there and get back into a new workforce. Have you seen a lot of that in your travels?
Well, let me tell you, Ian, we have people in their 80s in this program. And
Right.
I'm excited when they come to my desk and
Yeah, sure.
still want to work.
That's great.
And I want something to do. We have a retired teacher who's at the Fairhaven Council on Aging, working in the daycare program.
Wow.
And I think she's 82. We have another person who was 82 who was training with PACE, and they hired her. They hired her
Wow.
in her 80s because guess what? She got up every day. She showed up for work, rain or snow, and she was there every day and was consistent. And when it came time for her to exit the program, because there is a durational limit time, there is a 4-year limit on this program, she was close to that. And PACE said, you know what, she's valuable, we're going to hire her. So that's what we're working with, and that's what we're looking at with
Wow.
this population. They get up every day and go to work.
Wow, it's definitely a wonderful generation. They were raised on you work, you earn it. Herb, you were going to make a point about that?
In addition to what she's saying, I did a little homework the other day in regards to this age problem. People look at us as we're old, we're feeble, we don't have a good memory. But you got to look at life this way. Our current president was voted in at the age of 70, and he works a very hectic schedule. Nancy Pelosi, who was the minority whip in the Senate,
Right.
is 84 years old, and she's running for a second term for 6 years. So don't let age fool you, because we have abilities and facilities and skills that employers want, and don't discriminate because we're 55 and over, because as I said earlier, as Karyl said earlier, we are value added to any organization.
You are 100% right. I mean, look at someone like Bernie Sanders.
Exactly.
Look at Joe Biden. He's eyeing a 2020 run, as is Bernie Sanders. Ronald Reagan, you're absolutely right. We can go down the list.
Senator McCain and all of them.
Senator McCain, go down the list.
Yeah.
So we have a little technical glitch happening right here, but it's all right. We kept the shot on me, Josh?
Yeah, the shot's
Okay, the shot's on me. Okay, we're back up and running on the other camera, so we're good. Live TV, folks, these things happen. Carolyn and folks, if you want to bear with me for a minute, I have some housekeeping I have to do. I just need to run a little bit of a little promo for an employer who is advertising with us. Care One is hiring folks for full and part-time RNs and LPNs with a $2,000 sign-on bonus for full-time work. Maybe someday Karyl can offer those bonuses, and I'm just kidding. You are a quasi-government agency after all. $2,000 sign-on bonus for full-time, and this is no joke, folks. Both for 8-hour and 12-hour shifts are available. Part-time, full-time, and per diem to be filled right away by Care One. A $2,000 sign-on bonus. You see the link right on your screen. You can click for more information. They are, of course, an equal opportunity employer. To schedule your interview today, to schedule it, dial 508-996-4600, 508-996-4600. Again, that's Care One, folks, looking for full-time, part-time, per diem, LPNs and RNs. And again, they're an equal opportunity employer. They offer a competitive salary, comprehensive health insurance, 401k, paid time off, and opportunities to grow within the company. So again, 508-996-4600. So I have to get that housekeeping out of the way. Now, back to the fun. So again, age doesn't matter, folks, right? It doesn't matter. If you've got the will, you can do it. What kind of jobs? I mean, obviously, I would assume the jobs sometimes aren't too physically strenuous, could be mentally, or are there sometimes, depending on the physical fitness of the individual, where maybe the job could be a little more physical in regard to maybe, I'm not talking about boxing or anything like that, but we're talking maybe picking up boxes or moving things. How does that all play out? If someone says, look, I was a laborer, I was in construction, I'm good with my hands, maybe I don't want a desk job, how does that all play out?
That's a juggling act, but we do have opportunities for people who want to be a little more physical.
Okay.
At Coastline, we have a driver program so that they can be trained to be Meals on Wheels
Oh,
drivers.
very nice.
And we also have the elderly nutrition program where they put out the Meals on Wheels home-delivered meals, and they prep and package them at our main site. And we have quite a few of our workers working through that program, and they become EEOC trained for nutrition. So there's opportunities for everyone. There's clerical jobs and there's consumer mediator jobs if you like to be on the phone and you like to help people. And we have someone at Buzzards Bay right now just meeting and greeting and doing data entry and supporting the Buzzards Bay Coalition. And as I said, PACE and the Salvation Army and Project Independence and every single Council on Aging, either in the senior centers or in their daycare center at Brookline Park. We have people there also. So, I mean, it depends on what you really want to do at this point in your life.
I want to add to that.
Sure, if you want to
What you-
pull the
what
mic
you
over, yes,
really
please.
want to do. So many times I've heard people say, I spent 20, 30 years of my life doing what I had to do to put bread and butter on the table.
Sure,
Now
yeah.
that life has forced me to stop and really think about, I always wanted to work with children. Oh, well, we have a daycare center that possible opening for you. I always wanted to help people or work with the elderly. And now life has provided an opportunity to do that. And you can still continue to look for work because it is not a job. It's a training program. And because it's 20 hours a week, it allows us the time to continue our active job search. But so many times I've heard people say that, I always wanted to do this anyway. So here's an opportunity.
Janice is absolutely right. We do individual employment plans with them, so we're talking to them constantly about what they would like to do. Are they enjoying what they're doing? If
Right.
they're not enjoying, they don't feel like it's a great match, then guess what? That's not a problem. We'll find
Sure.
something else for you, because in the end, we want them to be happy and productive and to want to get up every day and to go to their host agencies and provide the support that's needed.
You just want a good experience for everybody.
Exactly.
We do have a question. I think you know who this person is, Karyl. Jimmy Edward Ryan Jr. He says, what about in-house jobs? Your husband is asking.
There's some dishes in the sink.
Jimmy, you hear it, Jimmy. Be a good boy.
Tomorrow is trash day, so there's plenty of in-house jobs
The lawn doesn't need cutting yet. Soon.
for you to do, dear.
Oh, boy. You asked, Jimmy. I had to do it. I'm sorry, man. What I was going to say earlier is that, and I know what I was going to get to about, and I lost my train of thought when you said what a starstruck fan of me you were, or are, I should say, so thank you for
Yes.
that. Oh, I know. I'll sign autographs later, okay?
Okay.
In the past, we've seen government agencies and nonprofits and for-profits work in their own silos, and they all have their own initiatives, but maybe their initiative is similar to another, and they're trying to achieve the same goal, but they're not dovetailing, and they're kind of swimming concurrently, but they're not really etching with one another. It seems like you're doing that, because, you're working with government agencies, you're working with the nonprofits like the Buzzards Bay, and you're really creating that excellent cross-pollination of everybody kind of working together to create that real germane workforce experience for your constituents.
And this program has always done that prior to me being here. Obviously, I probably do things a little differently than my predecessor, but I think that's the trend that the state and government is going with. The WIOA plan in the state is
Yeah.
making all of our agencies work together. Anyone that's working in, workforce development, we're all working together now to support each other and provide referrals to each other. And we meet monthly to work on that initiative. So it's important. It's important to know what's out there for services. And Janice and I do tons of referrals for the services. It's important for them to know what's available to them.
So if you want to give the information one more time before we sign off, if you're a job seeker potentially, the number and/or email or address to where you're located on how to get there.
Okay.
And if you're an employer or a government agency or a nonprofit and you want to perhaps partake in the program, the contact information to get more information about that as well.
Absolutely. The contact information is to either call Janice or me at Coastline at 508-999-6400, extension 177 or 162. They can also email me at kryan, R-Y-A-N, at coastlinenb.org and ask questions. If they want a brochure, I'll
Yep.
provide a brochure through them by scanning and emailing it to them, if that's helpful. They can call and ask questions. If you're an employer and you're looking for workers, please call us. Please call us. We would love to highlight some of our outstanding workers like Janice and Herbie and provide you with people who are going to show up for work every day and be happy and eager to be there.
And you have the testimonials to prove that what you're doing is successful.
We've been pretty successful with this program, yes we have. It's been at Coastline for quite a while. Prior to me being there, I've been in this position now for 3 years, and I couldn't be more happy.
That's great. Janice, Herbie, anything else you wanted to add before we sign off
I would
about
like
the
to say
program?
this, Coastline for me has been a life-changing experience, and it's been a positive experience for me, and I just want to let everybody know out there that if you feel as though that you're 55 and you can't find a job, you don't have any skill sets, Coastline is a place where you can start and begin and find a new career, and get new skills and get placed at a host agency. So I just want to say that to the people that are listening.
Great.
And it's nothing but a positive experience just to have our skills highlighted,
Yeah.
shining a light on
That's great.
all that we have to offer
That's
our
great.
workers.
And Janice is completing the program in April, and I will be hiring her.
All right.
Effectively on
Congratulations.
April 3rd as my program assistant, and
Look at
I-
you. Wow.
I couldn't get along without her. She's been absolutely tremendous. She was there prior to me, so she taught me a lot.
Great. So basically, you answer to her.
Some days I do, yes.
That's the way it
I
works.
used to answer to her. When I-
And you answer to her. So Janice, you're really the big shot in this whole deal, huh? You're the big shot. Karyl, is there anything else that maybe we didn't touch upon that you wanted to mention about the program? I know we jammed a lot of information out there in about 40 minutes to people, and there's got to be something we may be missing, but we tried our best in the confines of the time we had to get it out there. Is there anything else that you want to mention about the program?
It's just a great program, and we're really proud of the work that we're doing, and we're happy to bring people into the program and to screen them and to get them into these employment and training opportunities, and give us a call if you're interested. We'll do the screening over the phone with you, and we don't want people to be feeling isolated and alone. If you still have something that you want to give back to the community and you want to be able to make a little extra money, this is the perfect place to do it.
That's great. Again, our hosts today for the SouthCoast Job Central, we had Karyl Ryan, Director of the Senior Employment Program at Coastline. We had Janice Harris and as well as Herbie Johnson, both participants in the program, one working for Coastline and Janice, the other working for the city, right here in New Bedford, working on this under the Cynthia Walcris office at the Community Services. Both have done, actually, before we go, we have another question. It's your husband again. If you fill out an application, please don't lie about your criminal background. I would hope somebody wouldn't, but I guess,
I would hope somebody wouldn't.
Because well, actually, you know what, before we sign off, that is a legitimate question.
It's a legitimate question.
I would assume you're querying.
Yes,
Okay.
we do. We do queries and we do pre-screen, so employers can feel comfortable that the people that we're referring for jobs have been pre-screened. So thank you, that's a good question.
It was. He may have been joking, but he's absolutely right. Because
I think it was reminding you missed something.
Yeah, maybe that's what we missed. If you have a criminal background, is it within reason, or is it, if anything on a query comes up, kind of suspect? How does that all play out?
Well, it's considered through our HR department. It's not a decision that I make. So Sometimes we can talk about it,
Yeah,
but it's really, the decision is made through our HR department.
gotcha,
And I
gotcha.
have worked with many employers in the past who are willing to give ex-offenders a second chance. They understand if you're honest with them. I think it depends on the job, degree of the offense, and
Yeah.
how long ago it was.
Right.
Well, yeah, people do deserve a second chance in life. I agree with all of you. And, and if we don't give those folks a second chance, the cycle will just keep repeating itself.
No,
Not to get too political, but it's true.
No, you're right. This really is kind of like the second chance program.
Great. So again, we had individuals on today from the Coastline Services talking about the senior employment program. It was so great to have you, Carol, Janice, Herbie. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
And please come back again.
Yes.
And give us an update on when is she full-time again? When is she official?
April 3rd.
April 3rd. So you're going to give us updates. And Carol, I know you're such a big fan of me and the show. You're going to be watching all the
continue
time.
watching.
She'll
Yes, I
continue
will.
watching. Unbelievable. I have a fan. Listen, thank you all again, folks, for tuning in today. It's been a pleasure. For our producer, Josh Souza, for our entire guest panel, I'm Ian Abreu saying thank you, New Bedford. Thank you, South Coast. Godspeed, and we'll see you all next week, God willing. Thank you.